So let's begin today's analysis with the camping trip. It was written by George Terry, who also wrote Kipper Circus and Water, Water Everywhere. Hopefully this won't be quite as chaotic as Water, Water Everywhere, but we shall see. Alright, Kipper and the camping trip. Here we go. Let's do this. First thing we see is not a plain white background, just kind of a very colorful background. Like, it's sort of, from top to bottom, it sort of fades from blue to white and then to green, like the sky on the top and green grass down below. And then we see Tiger rolling around on his tricycle. I think he's having a little trouble steering it because for a split second he kind of steers towards us and then kind of turns around and goes in the other direction. And his tricycle is loaded up with something. He's wearing a backpack and there's something underneath his seat with some sticks tied to it. That reminds me of Kipper Circus when they were doing all that stuff with the rope, and I was wondering if they had a way to cut the rope. Maybe Tiger keeps stuff under there. Maybe he had something to cut it with. But anyway, Tiger's now arriving at Kipper's house. He rings this tiny little doorbell right along the edge of the door frame there. Kipper opens the door and says, "Hello?" And Tiger is panting like a tired dog. Kipper says he looks hot, but Tiger denies it. He says, "Hot? Me? No." He says, "Want to come camping?" And without any hesitation, Kipper just says, "Yeah, all right." And Tiger says he's got a tent and food and everything, all packed up on his tricycle and his backpack. I guess Kipper's not very busy. He's just going to go right along with this, not really making any plans or preparations or anything. So now we see Kipper and Tiger riding along, going camping. Tiger's still on his tricycle, and Kipper has his two-wheel bike, without training wheels, mind you. And he's got a water bottle tied to the front handlebars, and maybe something else tied to the back. That white part. It's either his seats or it's some kind of bag of something, I'm not sure. Now I want to point out something really unusual about Tiger's face here. Like, during the first half of the series, whenever they would show Tiger from like a side angle, when he talks, his mouth is like tucked down in his neck, which doesn't really make any sense because when we see him from the front side, his mouth is above his chin and below his nose like it would normally be. But I guess the animators couldn't figure out a way to show Tiger talking if his mouth is right along the front like that, so they put his mouth below his chin down into his neck. That is really weird. They eventually solved that problem later, like in the second half of the series. They actually managed to show his mouth right below his nose from a side angle and have the lips kind of stick out a little bit so you can see him talking, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I just thought that looked kind of weird. So what's he saying? He's saying that a tricycle is much more stable when it comes to carrying things, because the three wheels hold you steady. And as he's talking, he almost bumps into a rock that's on the ground. He manages to go over it, and Kipper goes around it. And Tiger continues, whereas a bike has two wheels, and it's easy to fall over. So I don't know if Tiger's just not good at riding a bike and he's trying to justify the fact that he's still on a tricycle or what. But what he's saying does make sense. When you have a lot of cargo, it is probably good to have a more stable vehicle to carry it with. But Kipper wonders if Tiger's trying to ask him in kind of an indirect way if he could carry something. Because Kipper offers Tiger if he could carry something for him. But Tiger says, "Oh, no, I'm fine." And they climb up this steep hill on their wheels, and then they go down the other side really fast. And just right over the edge, they go over a rock, or at least Tiger does. And Tiger says, "Whoa, see what I mean? I'd have been over then if I had been on a bike. I would have been over." I wonder if that's just like a kid-friendly way of saying, I would have been dead if I'd been on a bike. Probably. And yeah, see, Kipper just goes around that rock once again. I mean, there's a little bit of a dip in the grass that gives Kipper a little bit of a bump, but he doesn't hit the rock. It's either a rock or a big pile of mud that kind of sticks up there. And Kipper understands what Tiger is saying. It kind of makes sense to him. He says, "Right." Tiger still has his hind legs on the pedals of his tricycle, whereas Kipper has his legs up, going down the hill on the bicycle. And Tiger's feet look kind of funny the way they're just kind of going around in a blur. Next thing we see is a little hill with 5 little bunnies jumping around. Oh no, at least 5. There's actually 6 now. There's a lot of them. And one of them hears Kipper and Tiger coming. He thumps his foot really fast to warn everybody, and then they all jump away. And now Kipper and Tiger have arrived at their destination, which is right there where the bunnies were a second ago. And Tiger kind of looks around, tries to pick the perfect spot to set up their tent. He's a little bit fussy over perfection in this kind of situation. So Tiger unloads his tricycle, and apparently that was the tent underneath his seat. Kipper doesn't take anything off of his bicycle just yet. Oh, maybe that's his sandwiches wrapped up. I think that's what it is. They wrapped up in the string with the wax paper, because he's going to eat those sandwiches later, I just remembered. But he's going to leave them on the bike for now. Tiger's tent is basically just this big green cloth wrapping up this pile of sticks. And he tosses on the ground, and there's all those sticks there. They're not just, like, tree branch sticks. They're like these little pipes that you put together with pointy ends to stick in the ground. Then one of the bunnies hops by, and Kipper says hello to it. You see Tiger crawling around under the big green fabric there, or whatever that tent is made of. He says, can you pass me a pole? I know now that he said pole like P-O-L-E, but when I was 3 years old, first I thought he said Poe like the red Teletubby. But nope, pole, one of the sticks that they're going to use to set up the tent. And Kipper lifts up the edge of the green tarp and sticks one of the poles underneath, and then once it goes under, it kind of sticks up and makes a point, and we hear Tiger say, ouch! And Kipper says, whoops, sorry. I wonder what part of Tiger's body that pole hit. Hope it wasn't, like, his face or something. That would have hurt. But he seems okay. You see the bunnies out in the distance watching these guys set up the tent. Now, Kipper's crawling underneath, trying to help Tiger. He asks him, now what do we do, Tiger? And meanwhile, the bunnies are sitting right outside the tent, checking it out, looking at it. Then the two dogs stand up with the green tarp on top of them. I guess they're holding the sticks. And they stand up, and the bunnies fall over. They didn't expect them to stand up like that. And Tiger says, we need to go your way. And they're trying to walk with this thing. They kind of walk apart for a second, and then they crash into each other. Tiger says, no, your way, other way. And as they're trying to walk with it, one of the rabbits is standing on the edge of the green tarp, sliding on it like a surfer. Surfing in the grass, that's hilarious. Wow. And they don't get very far. They eventually trip over each other and fall to the ground. And they keep trying to build it as the rabbits watch. Then we fade to black, and they eventually do get to the tent set up. Tiger's got a little wooden hammer to nail down the pegs. He must have gotten a new wooden mallet because Kipper broke the one that he used in the seaside episode. I don't think they were setting up a tent on the beach. Was it a tent they were setting up? They were hammering something in the ground to set up their base camp. That's what they used the wooden mallet for. Then Kipper hit a little too hard and it broke, and then he had to go get a rock to use instead. But Tiger apparently got new mallets and works just fine. They got the nails in the ground. Kipper and Tiger's tent looks like it's nice and stable here. Now it's all done, and they go inside. It's pretty dark in there, but they both seem to like it. And pretty soon, Kipper says, I'm hungry. Tiger says, me too. The I'm hungry, me too. It sounds similar to the way they said it in the picnic episode, but it's not the same recording. Kind of makes sense that after that struggle of building up the tents, they would get hungry after a while. So now they're going to go out and eat. Wow, Tiger brought a grill. What's he cooking there? Are those, like, sausages or something? They look a little big to be sausages. I wonder if it's kielbasi like they had on Reading Rainbow. Who knows? Maybe they have some kind of special sausage or meats that they make in the UK that I don't know about. But my goodness, how old are these characters? 1 minute Tiger is riding a tricycle like a little kid, and now he's cooking sausages on the grill like an adult. I have no idea how old they're supposed to be. Like, the characters on this show, they're pretty much ageless. They do kid stuff, but they do grown-up stuff too. I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed this show so much when I was 10. I mean, I originally watched it when I was 3, but even when I was 10, I was still watching these tapes and enjoying them thoroughly. And they don't really have kid voices either. Yeah, see, Kipper brought his own sandwiches. That's probably what he had packed up on his bicycle there. I don't know what's in those sandwiches, if it's peanut butter or cheese or what. Can't even see what's in between. Just the line between the two slices. And then he sees one of the bunnies again, and he offers the sandwich to him. Says, want one? The bunny looks at it, and he almost looks like he's, like, shaking his head no a little bit, like moving his head back and forth left and right. So I guess he doesn't want one right now. Because he doesn't take it, he just hops away then. Well, maybe he considers it, though, because he kind of reaches his hands out in a split second there. But maybe he sees that the meat on the grill is burning a little bit. Tiger doesn't see it yet. Looks like he's got a can of baked beans, and he says, "Did you bring the tin opener?" I guess that's what they call it over there. It's a tin opener instead of a can opener. So it's a tin of beans, and unfortunately Kipper didn't bring a can of beans, or didn't bring a can opener for the beans, which is kind of a shame because where are they going to eat now if the sausages are ruined? I mean, I hope Tiger has a can opener somewhere that he just didn't see where it is yet. And I think those actually are cheese sandwiches because, well, I don't know. The stuff that's between the two slices, they actually have two lines there now, but it's the same color as the bread, so maybe it's peanut butter, maybe it's cheese, I'm not sure. Could be lunch meat too, who knows? And that's when Tiger sniffs the air and he sees smoke coming off of the sausages. And the way this grill is set up, it looks like there's this blue can, like maybe it's a gas can, and it's got this like little thing on top with these little heat flames, and Tiger had a frying pan on top of that. So very simple setup there. So yeah, I don't know if those sausages are still edible or not. I mean, I would probably eat one. I don't mind burnt hot dogs. I kind of like them, actually. If they're too burnt to eat, I guess Kipper will offer Tiger one of his sandwiches, because he's got plenty there, so they'll be alright. Then we dissolve to a little bit later on. It's an evening scene. It's pretty much nighttime there. There's stars coming out in the sky, and the sky's dark blue. Oh, these little bunnies are having so much fun this episode. One of them climbs to the top of the tent and slides down the other side. That reminds me of a section of the gymnasium at the Universal Athletic Club where you climb the rope on one side. There's this like big rubber triangular thing. You climb up one side with the rope and then you just slide down the other, or toss the rope around and climb down the other side. But that triangular arch there with the smooth rubber, you just slide down. Maybe think of that part here with the tent, the bunny sliding down. And that bunny just curls up and falls asleep right next to Kipper. He's lying on the ground looking up at the stars. And Tiger's finishing his supper. It looks like he's eating one of Kipper's sandwiches. Or maybe, were those actually sandwiches that Kipper brought? Or were they just pieces of bread? No, I'm pretty sure they were sandwiches because they were two pieces stuck together with something in between. The reason I thought that it was just bread was because I wonder if Tiger was planning on making sausage sandwiches. Because this piece here that Tiger is eating, it looks like there might be a little piece of sausage sticking out the corner there, but maybe it's just a darker part of the bread crust. When they're done eating, they just lie down in the grass and look up at the thousands of stars. And they keep going back and forth, saying bigger numbers, because there's a lot more than thousands. Kipper starts by saying thousands, and Tiger says millions. And Kipper says billions. Tiger, zillions. No, actually, Tiger says trillions, and then Kipper says zillions. And that's when Tiger says quillions. To which Kipper says, "There's no such thing as quillions." And Tiger says, "How do you know?" Well, I've got the internet right in front of me here, so let's see if there is such a thing as quillions. Okay, there's no quillions, but a quintillion, Google says, is a cardinal number representing 10 with the little 18 on the top right corner. It's been so long since I've been in math class, I don't remember what that means. 1 followed by 18 zeros, okay. Does that mean like 18th power or something? I gotta start watching Square One TV or something. Maybe I'll learn a few of these. Because it's been almost 11 years since I finished high school, so haven't had to study that stuff in a long time. Don't really use any of it in real life. Number representing 1 followed by 18 zeros in the short scale used in the US, UK, and modern scientific contexts is expressed as 1, 3 zeros, 3 zeros, 3 zeros, 3 zeros, 3 zeros, 3 zeros, which is equal to 1,000 quadrillions or 1,000,000 trillions, often associated with the prefix exa. Quintillion's a 19-digit number, 1 followed by 18 zeros. Trillion has 12 zeros. Quadrillion has 15 zeros. Quintillion has 18 zeros. And sextillion, 21 zeros. So Tiger's close. There may not be such a word as quillions, but he might be thinking of quintillions. And then Tiger asks Kipper if stars can go out, like being switched off. Kipper says, "I don't think so." Tiger says, "Well, why are they disappearing then?" And Kipper looks up and it turns out there's a big black cloud covering up the stars and the moon. And yep, it's a storm cloud. Pretty soon it starts raining. The first drop lands on Tiger's nose. Then all three of them, the 2 dogs and the rabbit, stand up. And Kipper says, "I think we better go inside. Bye, rabbit." And the rabbit hops away, and the 2 dogs hop into their tent. And they're still enjoying it. Tiger says, "This is fun." And all of a sudden, boom! The thunder and lightning. And then Kipper and Tiger get a little scared and they hug each other, kind of like Frog and Toad did in Dragons and Giants when the storm began on top of the mountain there. And man, that storm is brutal. It's like the wind is blowing so hard that it's like bending the trees there. And the bushes too. And as you may have guessed, the wind is getting ready to blow the tent away, pulling the ropes right out of the ground. The nails are not strong enough to hold the tent anymore. And there it goes. They're caught in the rain. They lost their tent. Kipper says, I think we better find some shelter. They're walking around trying to figure out what to do and where to go, and it's very dark, they can hardly see. And Kipper runs into a tree. Says, oof, we gotta get out of the rain. Tiger says, where? Kipper says, you go that way. And so they split up trying to find some place to wait, I guess. And then as Tiger walks towards us, when he gets up close, we pretty much only see him from the shoulders up. And then, it looks like he falls off a cliff. What happened to him? And Kipper doesn't know that Tiger is lost yet. He's running through the rain trying to find shelter. And when I was 3 years old, I thought Kipper was crying there for a second because I saw all the water droplets in front of his face, but they're not teardrops. Those are the raindrops coming down. And that's when he realizes the Tiger is missing. He says, Tiger, Tiger, where are you? Tiger, don't muck about. Don't muck about, M-U-C-K. In the UK, muck about means mess around. Google says, don't muck about or muck around is a British informal phrase meaning to stop wasting time behaving in a silly or lazy way or messing around. So for whatever reason, for a split second there, Kipper thought that maybe Tiger was just, standing around carelessly, not really taking the situation seriously, but I don't know why that would be the case, because it's a pretty bad storm right there. And yeah, it's definitely windy out, so those clouds are moving very fast. And then, as Kipper calls for Tiger, he walks towards us, and then he falls down what appears to be that same cliff that Tiger fell off of. And it turns out that's not a cliff, but it's a hole in the ground to a tunnel. You see Kipper sliding down this underground tunnel, which leads to an even bigger tunnel where Tiger is laying, and Kipper falls on top of him. So what is this place? Kipper says, where are we? Hey, there's one of the bunnies. And the bunny tickles Kipper, and Kipper says, hey, get off. They used that same recording again later in Arnold's balloon trip when they were up in the sky on the bench with the balloons and the birds were tickling Kipper. He said, hey, get off. So what is this? Is this supposed to be some gigantic rabbit warren? This seems a little bit big to be a rabbit tunnel. Like, how could Kipper and Tiger fit inside there? Because, look at that tiny little bunny. That tunnel is huge. There's no way rabbits could have made that tunnel, I wouldn't think. Unless something else made that tunnel and the rabbits just lived there. And the rabbit kind of jumps around and Kipper thinks that the rabbit wants them to follow him. And so they stand up in this tunnel and start walking. They don't even have to crawl through it. They just stand up and walk on their hind legs. So this tunnel is really big for a rabbit tunnel. Seems very exaggerated. This is definitely a George Terry episode. Looks like fun, though. I wouldn't mind exploring those tunnels. They look safe enough. The tunnel just kind of goes up and down and around. There's tree roots growing underneath there. And they come to this little room at the end of the tunnel where the rabbits live. I wonder how they're able to see in there. Like, there's no lights, and it's very dark and stormy outside. Maybe they could just hear where the rabbit was going and just listen and follow. Yeah, Kipper and Tiger sit down with all the rabbits there, and one of the bunnies hands him a carrot. And Kipper says, is that for me? Thanks. It's good. And Tiger says, could I have one? And the rabbit brings Tiger a carrot as well. And they're sitting there with the rabbits enjoying their carrots, and then Kipper lays back and says, I wonder if it's still raining outside. And Tiger says, I don't know. And he just stretches and yawns and lies down with the bunnies, and I guess they just kind of fall asleep there in the tunnel. And then the picture kind of zooms out. It looks like just a little oval picture surrounded by a black background, and then it slowly fades away. And that's it. That's the end of the episode. Interesting. That episode didn't really have an actual conclusion. Like, we still don't know if they completely lost their tent altogether. I assume they kind of did, which is kind of sad. And we also never got to see how Kipper and Tiger got out of the tunnel. Because at first glance, it looks like that's something that they would just, like, fall into and not be able to get out of. But I guess if rabbits can get in and out of there, I'm sure the walls of the cave are bumpy enough that they could just climb up to get to that smaller hole and climb up out of that. So it's not like they're stuck down there forever, I wouldn't think. So I guess they're just going to relax down there until the storm passes and then go back up and see if they can gather their camping things, if there's anything left, and then just grab their bikes and go home. So yeah, I enjoyed that episode. Makes me think of a time when me and my dad went camping in our backyard. We live in the city, but we do have a small backyard, and we set up a tent back there, and we grilled hot dogs and marshmallows, a little grill back there, and we even slept out there overnight in the tent. And at one point it even rained during the middle of the night. And I remember hearing cardinals when I first woke up. That was really beautiful. And another thing this reminds me of, once again, the gymnasium at Universal Athletic Club, they had lots of tunnels to crawl around in. That big structure was like a big pipeline maze with all the tunnels and slides. It was a lot of fun to explore that, and this kind of reminded me of that. Obviously, on Kipper, this was a much bigger tunnel than what they had at the gymnasium, but these round, dark tunnels that kind of curve around, and you can explore them and go through it. And the fact that there's like no outside windows. The ones at Universal had some windows, but not a lot, so some parts of it were a little dark. But yeah, when I was 3 years old, I went to that gymnasium a couple of times in 2001, like for the first time. And that was right around the time when I was watching these Kipper episodes over and over again, so a little bit of a connection there. But yeah, Kipper, the camping trip. Overall, a pretty good episode. A little bit weird at times, but the whole thing with the bunnies in the background was really cute, and it's really cool how they were able to help them in the end. Alright, so that was the camping trip. That was today's A episode, and the camping trip was released on VHS and DVD in the Tiger Tales collection. I think for me, the biggest highlight of this episode was the music. I really like the whole tune of ba-dum, 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 boom, boom, do-do, wop, do-do, wop, do-do, wop, wop, do-do, wop, do-do, wop, do-do, wop. Before we go into today's B episode, I'll play the last minute of this episode so you can hear what this beautiful music is like. I'll be back with more in a moment.
I think he wants us to follow him. Oh, hello. Looks warm. Is that for me? Thanks. I wonder if it's still raining outside.